Hi, welcome to the Self-Made Book Channel and podcast. I'm Byron.
And I'm Bianca.
I have a question for you.
Uh-oh.
So something we've spoken about quite publicly actually, which is lockdown 1.0 was apart from all of the doom and gloom in the world and so on, but commercially very, very good for us. And I wanted to just ask you the question, why do you think that has been the case for you? And that's the question. Why has it been so good to you and me separately, but so good to you and good to us? What has been the changes? Have you changed your processes? Is it because you're already in the game? Like, what is it? That's the question.
I think, what did I say? So, okay, in general, overall, yes, it has been good. But I think the first couple of months were not, for me, for a lot of my clients, they cancelled a lot of activities and lots of events and workshops while they got or came to terms with how to deliver things virtually. So I don't think it was good for me from the outset. I think as much as I was prepared to pivot, it took a lot of my clients a longer time to do that, because I think their processes are quite like ingrained, and it's not just them making a decision. They had to go to other people to make decisions on making an event virtual or getting new software and so on. So that was a major setback actually. I don't think it was good at the beginning. It was kind of a case of me saying to them, hey, I can deliver this virtually, and them saying, okay, well, you know, we'll think about it, we might try it, we might not. And then some of them said, okay, let's try it. And there's a very big difference in how some clients perceived that idea of trying something new. Some people like it, some people don't. And so initially it wasn't great. And even from an accounting perspective, I could see where we made, you know, significant losses in that quarter where things suddenly changed and things got cancelled. And so it had a detrimental impact. But I think what allowed things to change and for the change to occur was my ability to pivot and to innovate and to say to my clients, I can still deliver for you. Let me show you how, you know, you're in safe hands, and literally be able to map out exactly what I would do for them for their event, how I would help their, whoever their delegates or cohort was. I could show them how I could help. And I think it was my ability to adapt and to have a good relationship with the clients, so they trusted me enough to do that. I think that's how I was able to change things and then have, you know, one of the best months we've had, you know, because of
I think you did a small clip on that, how you lost thousands of pounds.
Yeah, like within a couple of, you know, one client cancelled a couple of things, and it was like 18 grand plus that, just straight away.
So how did you feel about that? And what was your action? What was your reaction and then your action? So,
you know, when you get that email that says, hey, sorry, we're cancelling, and
that
you're like,
email,
that's, you know, 20 odd grand gone straight away. That's never an email you want to receive.
Yeah, 100%.
I think my initial reaction was like, oh, like damn, like.
And it was close to the date, right? Wasn't it?
Yeah. It was the cancellation wasn't within. It was from. If we were to do everything down the line, they had not cancelled within the prescribed period of time.
Yeah, it was within the
so I
not within the
was
cancellation
within
period
rights to charge them.
Yeah.
But if you look at it, it's not, business is not black and white, and relationships are not black and white. And I could have said hard line, actually no, you need to pay because or at least you need to pay for one of these events because this one's not within the cancellation period, the rest are. But relationships sometimes in business are more important than that initial moment. And for me, they've been a client for years. I didn't want to do that. I couldn't do that to them. So my initial reaction was, God, what do we do? Then it was, let me speak to them. And by speaking to them, I was then able to say, okay, what's happened? What's the plan? Are we going to change this to online? They need more time. They need time to rethink. They need time to reanalyze what they're going to do. And then I said, all right, let me brainstorm with you. So I did the brainstorm. And I went back to them with a proposal. And as a result, they then... some of it was cancelled, yes. So I lost some, and then some of it was, okay, well, Bianca, let's do it differently.
Postponed and
let's postpone. So not even postpone. Let's just do it again, but do it differently. So yes, I'd lost half, maybe, you know, of that booking or whatever. But by me being able to reassure them and make other suggestions, I think that's what turned it around. So I think during this time, it's you've lost, but you've still gained. You know, could have lost it all. But also, this is about longer term relationship. I want them to know that even when hard times hit for everyone, I wasn't just thinking about myself. I was thinking about, they're a massive organization, they can afford to lose that money, but actually what's that going to do for our relationship next year? And the years to come. And I think that's why there's
a difficult balance. Picture. So let's say this then. Let's say you had no other source of income. That 18 grand you were waiting for to deliver. And therefore you needed that money.
Sure.
Because, you know what I mean? So so it's so different. It's a matter of perspective. And I can appreciate what you're saying, but then what about the man who doesn't have
the money to pay for staff and all the other costs that you have?
They're waiting for that booking that they so how would you, let's say you had no other source of income.
I think that's where, you know, I think we're lucky in the UK that there was the bounce back loan scheme, that there were some things in place to sort of furlough scheme to support
not necessarily
businesses.
That. I think what I'm getting at really is, what would your action have been and your reaction have been different to what it was?
Yeah, I think the only thing you could have done, look, regardless, you get the email, you're like, what do I do? Like, you know, regardless, I think it's 18 grand is 18 grand. It doesn't matter whether you need it, you don't need it, you're expecting it, right? You've made plans for it. You can never plan, or you should never spend the money in advance, but we do. As business people, you expect the money, you know that client's good for it, so you make plans based on that. But equally, you know, your terms and conditions are there to protect you. So I could have gone hard and said, I need the money, pay it. But what does that do for your long term? I'm
not asking that. I'm asking about
what if you needed
the need to survive, eat, live, pay your direct debits, pay your bills. Does your conversation with your would it change? Because there's a different need.
Yeah, it would have. It would have changed, because I think what I kind of said to my client was, I understand your position. Equally, this is our normal terms, as you know. What are we going to do? And is this a long-term situation, or is this something we can work together on bringing it back and doing it online? And I guess if I could have been hardlined about it and said, you need to pay. And that's, and I think the client would have understood. They were like, we are so appreciative of you making this decision and you not being hard-nosed or hardline and saying pay it, because it would have affected them significantly. Had I needed the money, I guess I could have done that. I could have. I was within my rights too.
Yeah. I guess it's hard to kind of, you know, it's hypothetical, coulda, shoulda, woulda, but
it still affects you. It doesn't matter where you are. It does matter where you are.
Absolutely,
it does matter.
Absolutely.
But it's not that it didn't. It doesn't affect. It affects your bottom line regardless, doesn't it?
Yeah. Because I guess I'm thinking, like, you know, would you maybe have structured it in a different way and said, look, you know, you've got to pay, but
over longer term.
You pay it, but you can redeem those services as and when, like, you know, just being creative, making sure that money still comes in.
I could have, and I think I could look. They will book again, but they will book for next year.
Yeah, sure. I mean, they've been a client for years now.
Yeah, I could have said that. I could have said, "Well, pay it, and next year you can redeem it." Yes, I could have. But that's not how a lot of these corporate
they don't want.
Work.
Yeah, they work on their budgets
and their per quarter. Yeah. That, so taking it now would not have helped them for next year.
Sure. Okay, cool.
But in answer to your question was, how has it positively affected us? I think it has changed.
And why?
It has changed people's perception of what they need as their minimum level of income. Like, I think some people were happy to just have a salary and not really think about having multiple streams of income or having a side hustle or doing a business, because they felt supported by that job. And I think when you suddenly realise that a job that you think is supporting everything can be taken away from you at a moment's notice, that's when you start thinking, actually, I need to change.
For no fault of the employers.
Correct.
You know,
the employer or you.
Yeah.
And I think that's when people started thinking, gosh, I I've always had this business idea, I've always had this passion, I've always had this side hustle, I've never taken it seriously, or I've always wanted a secondary income, but I've been so busy at work, but now work is not necessarily a permanent option. So then I think people from a mentoring perspective came to us and said, I need to start doing this. I can't rely on that one salary.
Yeah.
And I think that for us has been a very positive thing, because we've been talking about entrepreneurship, side hustles and stuff for years. And now people came out and said, look, yes, it's time.
Dope.
I know obviously it affected you in two ways, because you had the car business and everything else that you do. So how has it affected you?
I think overall, it's been fantastic for me. For a number of reasons. And it's quite interesting, because the one detrimental thing was obviously the car business. For those that don't know, I have a chauffeur business. And of course, you can't even do anything, right? So from that perspective, our income was, shut off overnight, right? So we were looking forward to this year. We had some new stock. We were looking forward to 2020. And then COVID happens, right? So our income shut down overnight. Now, the interesting thing that happened, so a lot of the cars are financed, and so the first thing I did was I put a call into the finance companies, and I said, well, look, there's no income, there will be zero income. It's not like like we're doing badly. There will be zero income for the foreseeable future. What do you want to do? And it's quite interesting. I spoke to one of the directors. We've been working together for years, and he said to me, look, Byron, if you don't pay us or come to an agreement of a sensible amount, then we won't be here in 3 months' time. You won't be speaking to me. You'll be speaking to somebody else who bought our books. And I was like, this thing is deep.
It's deep. It's not just, it doesn't just affect you.
The finance company still borrow money from somewhere.
Someone else. Yeah.
Right? So I was like, okay, interesting. So we had a great conversation, and we agreed some variable and flexible rates, but they also offered me a discount. Well, not offered, I asked a question. I said, look, if I'm able to settle, and it's the question I like to ask, if I can, will you? If I'm able to settle this invoice or this vehicle in full, would you be interested in giving me a discount? And of course, it was a case of, well, what's the point in having all of this, all these books where people are not going to pay us? Let me get some in. So I managed to negotiate some fantastic deals. Some of which I took, some of which I didn't.
But again, that's about you having liquidity to be able to do that.
I mean, the best of a bad situation. Now, that money didn't come from the business. It had to come from my own pocket. And I guess I'm looking at it from the long term. And I know that we'll be able to recover. And the great thing is we've got stock and so on. And my team are very flexible. So that was... It is what it is. There's nothing you can do about it. I wasn't emotionally attached to it. But one of the things that I think changed the game for me, car business aside, so other businesses were affected positively and negatively. That was the only one really that had a major effect. Well, one of the things that was really interesting was there was opportunities that had arisen as a result of this. Many opportunities, actually. But the one thing that was different was me. And I'll tell you why. Me not having meetings is incredible. And we all work diligently at home and so on and so forth, right? It's fine. It's great. But 2 times a week, 3 times a week maybe, we would have to have meetings. So we live just on the outskirts of London now. We live in Surrey. And it only takes an hour and 15 minutes to get in, hour 20 if you want to say that. It's an hour and 20 to get in, an hour and 20 to get, let's say an hour and a half, including parking, right? So that's 3 hours we're talking about, just commuting. Then one meeting is an hour and 15, hour and 30. So we're talking 4.5 hours of the day done. So you get up, you have breakfast, you leave. 4.5 hours of the day is gone. So if I have 2 meetings, my day's wiped out.
Yeah.
And often the meetings that I have, they're income producing or relationship building, but often they're not now.
Not directly, yeah.
They're often things that happen.
It's pipeline creation.
Pipeline creation, right?
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
So what happened as a result of not having to commute was people was adapting themselves and they were saying, let's have a meeting over the phone. I can condense so much more into my day and my days. It was fantastic. It was phenomenal. Now, I've been preaching about working from anywhere in the world and doing that for years.
Yeah.
And it's now everybody's saying, realize, oh my God, we can do this. So when people always say to me, let's have a meeting, and I will respond, let's just have a quick call, buddy. Let's just have a quick conversation over the phone, because it doesn't require a meeting.
And people like to have the face-to-face. I
Yes.
get it, but it doesn't require it.
And there is some value in meeting some
Yeah, of
people.
course.
There is different conversations, different energies, you know, boys talk and whatever else is different, right? But the fact that people had no other choice, if you want to do
Maybe
business,
they had to adapt too.
they had to adapt.
Yeah.
So that meant I can do so much more in my day, communicate with so much more people. I was just, and I, you know, I love networking, I love speaking to people. I would reach out to people and it was phenomenal. It was a game changer. So
And
I was
think
doing
it's what
everything.
led us to being able to travel as much as we have. Like we travel 4 times. We probably go on holiday 4 or 5 times a year anyway. But for us to be abroad working, like literally working abroad for a prolonged period of time, it's reassessed, reimagined for me what work could be like, because I often had to be in London for clients.
Sure. And I guess our mentoring community, we were teaching face to face. So they were like a major commitment that we had to say, okay, we have to be here on, you know, one day of the month, but that's obviously online now. So that's allowed us to have a bit more freedom and travel and so on and so forth. So that's been fantastic. So I think overall for me, that and many other things has just been a phenomenal, it's been fantastic because I can work, I don't mind working long hours and so on and so forth. And one thing is really strange, and I still can't, I'll just articulate it. I used to take my laptop, you know, as my third wife or second wife.
Yes, we know Sheila, everyone knows Sheila.
Second wife.
Second her, who's the third?
I don't know, but somewhere. So I'm pointing at her. I would take my laptop absolutely everywhere. It goes to bed with me. I'm working in bed. And I noticed from when COVID kind of kicked in, I stopped doing it. I don't know what that is.
I think it's because you had more hours in the day to do the work you need to do. You didn't need to take the laptop to bed with you anymore. Or maybe it's also the separation. I feel like we tried to, I don't know if it's instinctive or if you just did this, separate where you worked from. You stopped working from our bedroom. And you only work downstairs.
It wasn't like a conscious, oh my God, I want to stop working from
but it happened.
It just
because
happened.
You were home more, working more.
I think I was able to get my work done within a sensible period, and I can achieve the results that I want to get because I had more focus and everybody else had more focus because they weren't getting distracted.
And I'll probably end it here, but what I've loved seeing is our mentees starting businesses or growing their businesses in this time, because I think there's a misconception that this would mean that's it for business, or so many reports, businesses are failing this. So many of our mentees have started or scaled businesses significantly during this time, literally going from nothing to one of my mentees at the moment went from starting this online cooking thing to making thousands per month in the space of 2 months. And people just wouldn't have seen that. They wouldn't have imagined that because the news is telling them that it's not possible. Yeah. And it is possible. And I think it's just such an interesting, the internet has provided us with such an amazing tool to expand our businesses remotely, globally. And it's crazy.
Absolutely. So I think that's a good way to end.
I agree. But that doesn't mean I want more of this lockdown stuff.
I don't want more lockdown.
I want to go back to...
Lockdown where? We're about to go
Yeah,
to...
but you know, I want to go back to normal. But yeah.
Lockdown 2.0. Absolutely. I want this over with and to be able to resume.
But what have you learned in lockdown? And what have you changed? What have you done? There's so much you can do.
That's a whole new video. This is 20 minutes long.
I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the people watching.
Oh, right.
I've heard your story already.
No, but what have I learned?
No,
That's
okay,
like
all right. New story.
So, guys, we want to know how lockdown has had an impact on you, both positively, in fact, just positively. We want to keep the energy good, flowing. So how has it had an impact on you? What are you going to do to change things? And please like, comment, share, subscribe. If you found this video useful, interesting, if it was a good conversation, please share it. Let the world know. Share with a brother or sister. Let them know that we're producing free content for you guys. So hit that subscribe button, please, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.